So, this is a build-around deck submission for Kefnet, the God-Eternal here, plus Time Warp, plus Brainstorm. So Kefnet here says, when you draw your first card each turn, you can reveal it. And then if it's an instant or sorcery, you can copy that spell and cast the copy for 2 less mana. So if you draw Time Warp, you get to copy Time Warp and then attack with your 4/5 punch. Brainstorm lets you stack cards on top of your deck. This is also an instant speed draw spell. So in a pinch, you can use this to trigger Kefnet, on your opponent's turn as well. So you could like draw step, Inquisition, or Thoughtseize them basically. So this was the build around, and the person requested that we set up, or that we build in Sultai. And I was looking at our different options in Sultai, and we had 2 new Strixhaven cards that seemed like very reasonable inclusions here. So we got Dragonsguard Elite. You can get a 1/1 counter every time you cast an instant or sorcery. And then Sedgemoor Witch, basically mono black young pyromancer here with some other upside with menace, and then these tokens gain you life when they die. We got a bunch of other cheap interaction spells. We've got Abundant Harvest here as an additional cantrip that triggers these, and you can copy with God-Eternal Kefnet. We've got some pulses here as just general catch-all interaction. And then I've got Tamiyo here because she's just good at picking back up time warps and taking lots of extra turns. Just good value card in general. Smattering of different interactive pieces in the sideboard. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see if our Sultai mid-range deck can be reasonable here today. Hey, Jake Man, thanks for 13 months. Welcome back. This might be a little loose to keep in the dark. There's something aggressive. We're a little sad. So it has to be good. We can't let Grixis be the best mid-range deck today. We're going to try a Luris pack deck. I guess this is the only other mid-range deck today. Yeah, and that's a great way to approach decks like this too. Like, you know, even if this deck as a whole isn't good, there's a number of small interactions in this deck to think about in terms of like, can we apply these interactions to other decks if this deck isn't good? Yeah, the paper streams really were in 2016. But it's been a hot second. Long time ago. Well, caught with our hand in the cookie jar, so to speak. I assume we're about to lose this pulse. Hey, puppy. Thanks for the 15 months. Welcome back. Like I said, this hand could easily get punished by an aggro deck if we were on the one because we were on the draw. That looks to be what's happening here. The Meadery sponsored my content for a little while. But the Meadery stuff predates even 2016. That was like 2012, 2013. Was I traveling for SCG events? I qualified for the SCG Players Championship. I think it was 2014. No, I don't even remember what year it was. It was I think 2016 was one of them, but I don't remember if 2016 was the first one or the second one. Was it 2014? 2014 sounds right. Yeah, 2016 was the second one. Okay, so yeah, 2014, 2016. A dupe, 6 to 23 months. Cut the Thoughtseizes here. Bring in more cards that play to the board. Tamiyo's a little slow and fair here, I think. I want Quandrix Command. The rest of this seems fine. What is the Meadery? The Meadery was a Magic content site that also had an attempt at creating a Magic the Gathering flavored social network, which ultimately the site ended up going down because the server it was hosted on crashed and the owner of the site didn't do backups. Back your stuff up, chat. Back it up. Maybe I'm supposed to take this because they have double good boy. That's actually a great link. I feel like we should have a command for people that don't realize how big of a Magic boomer I am. There's a link that lists accomplishments going back probably forever, honestly. Oh, not quite forever. This one is missing my 2012 top 8s. My first SCG Open top 8 was in 2012. Is there a picture of you playing Magic with hair? They exist somewhere on the internet. Hey, thanks for the 28 months, Abyssal. Welcome back. No, I don't think Primal Amulet's very good. Kefnet at least has impact. Kefnet at least has impact on the board the turn you play it. Ah, 3-color mana bases. Alright, I'm gonna cast Explorer. All right. Sure, I guess. In 2013, Jeff didn't have children. Jacob is 7, so it's 2014. You have more hair before you have children, chat. That's just how it works. Them's the rules. As a Dragonsguard Elite. don't know what you're talking about. The 90s were 10 years ago. Ooh. Huh? I wait to play these other cantrips till after I get Witch down now, right? Deal. I 6/6. There are many like it, but this one is fine. If they don't have a exile Sedgemoor Witch here, we're gonna be in a good spot. Okay. Oh, they're taking the Elite. Sure. Deal, Arena. For the follow, Lucas. Shoot beam. They have Ephemerate. I think I still just pass here, right? That's gotta be wrong. I'll push one of these off a cliff for now. Think I'm gonna hold on to the Noxious Grasp, though. I could just attack. That's gotta be wrong. Oh, I have Menace. That's a good thought. Yeah, if I would have used both my removal spells, I could have attacked with the Menace. So Noxious Grasp is the wrong card to take here, because I kind of want to Noxious Grasp them anyways, so I get to use all 4 mana, whereas I don't really want to Brainstorm this turn. So they should take the Brainstorm because it would tie more mana up this turn on me. I'll attack with these because this has Menace, so if they want to kill this, they have to double block, and then I get a 2/2 and they take 6, and then I take an extra turn. Which with Time Walk looks pretty good. Brainstorm. Brainstorm is the definition of just okay in this format. Arctic has a reasonable number of ways to clear it, too. Hey, thanks for setting that command up, isn't tough? Like, we have Abundant Growth and Fabled Passage to clear it, and Tamiyo clears it too. Brainstorm seems like super opt. It's worse than opt in a lot of situations. Yeah, no, it's a good thing. Yeah, OG Dead Guy L. July 2012. Clink even says old in it. Yep. Yep. Good morning, the night shift. Just getting off, I assume. When did you get it, Philly? Did you just get it or did you get it yesterday? Yesterday is sweet. Yeah, you probably would have been hit by it by now if you're gonna have any side effects. Take the Shark Typhoon here, actually. Getting an island with this? I think I'm getting an island with this, huh? Nice tapped land. I'm gonna take Absorb and just make sure my spells resolve. Well, these don't drain, they just gain you a life. So still better than nothing, but not quite. They're not quite as good against control. Although they should help offset the fact that I've done 8 to myself this game. She'll drain them a little bit when they kill it at least. Maybe I was supposed to take the Wrath of God instead of the Absorb. I guess giving them more 3-mana options isn't great, though. Yeah, they wanted to wait till my upkeep in case I had a counterspell. They don't know that we're playing a tap-out deck. Restricted in Vintage. All cards power level is contextual in the format chat. Never not contextual. This is lethal with the Time Warp, so I'm gonna go ahead and make them have the white source here. It looks like they don't. I'll be streaming my run in the 5K tomorrow. I will be streaming on a 10-minute delay tomorrow. Starts at noon central, so I'll go live probably about 10 or so. Let's do the Time Warp again. That's a lethal. numbers have taken a leap. Congrats. I mean, they're just back to what they were before, Dr. Brouhaha. You're not new. The numbers fell off because I stopped doing Magic stuff. Changing games that you stream on Twitch is basically impossible. When you start off as a one game streamer, you can't move into streaming other things without a lot of fortune. And it didn't help that like Runeterra's not a very popular game either. King Jumbata, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. On a board here, I definitely want the negates. How much removal do I want to leave in post board's a question. I definitely want the Maelstrom Pulses. Maybe we board out. Maybe we board out Bloodchief's Thirst. Maybe Soul Guide Lantern's not good enough. They could be a Jeskai Hulk deck. Yeah, I've got a couple of variety segments that people donated for in other games that I want to play. And probably gonna pick those back up not this next week, but the week after. Once the deck queue will eventually not be super packed in. I don't know, other games just don't hit like Magic hits. Magic has a lot more deck building depth than other games. And honestly, the more I played other games like Runeterra and Mythgard and stuff like that, best of one card games just suck. I really don't like card games as a best of one game. Even games like Mythgard and Runeterra that remove resource variance from the game, those games still have an incredible amount of variance in general, and playing games that have variance by design in a best of one setting is super frustrating. Elder Jeep Fiend, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. I also don't find they're like when those other games do small amounts of best of three, they do multi-deck formats, and multi-deck formats are incredibly unsatisfying as someone who likes to brew. You don't get rewarded for brewing in multi-deck settings. In fact, I'd argue you get actively punished for doing so. Yeah, I think Runeterra would be a game that I personally would enjoy a lot more with best of three and sideboards. Mythgard actually plans to add best of three with sideboards to their clients at some point. It's on their roadmap. Runeterra does not. Runeterra has no desire to add sideboarded things. Okay, well, our Magecrafty units aren't super good at this matchup. They have a ton of Electrolyzes and Prismari commands. Yeah, best of three just hits different. There's an amount of player agency you get from playing best of three with sideboards that just doesn't exist in the other formats. Yikes. Alright, so I gotta redraw one of these. Probably don't want 2 time warps. And the good news is next turn I'm gonna get to clear the second one off the top of my deck with this Abundant Harvest. So we've got that going for us. If we don't get Wrath of God in here, we're gonna be in a pretty good spot. We're getting Wrath of God in yet. best of one, best of three aside, do you prefer resource variants like Magic, or do you prefer variants in the cards themselves? I don't know that I really have a fair comparison for that. I've never experienced something similar to Magic without resource variants, because these other games don't do best of three. Just chilling here with this Negate. End step this. I'd like to find a land here. This gives me the most chances to do that. Sweet. I get to set up. Kefnet Time Warp now. Do I want to set up Kefnet Time Warp? I might want to set up Kefnet Thoughtseize, honestly. I don't have third. Lack of third blue is awkward here. You know what? I'm gonna put these two back, and we'll redraw the Tamiyo. And then we might Thoughtseize into Time Warp next turn, depending on what their hand looks like and what they do here. Alright, I'm gonna take Shark Typhoon. God bless Menace, chat. Yeah, they have a lot of points to reach up here. Each of these are deal threes. Hey, Hydra Moose, thanks for the sub, by the way. Huh? Do I make them play it again? I don't feel like we're racing them here, right? I think I just let this happen and I just pass. I actually think I messed up by not shocking this in, so I could Time Warp this turn to bait on an absorb. Yeah, we're not racing them, right? All of these cards in their hand gain 3. They drew a 2-mana counterspell. You've been really unlucky in our set so far today. They know this is here. Is this another counterspell? Or are they just getting through the negate? Survey says. Notably cannot block this 2/2 because Kefnet will die to a deal 3. Okay, draw like a Tamiyo here or something. Not particularly exciting. Probably dead at this point. Not sure that we have the card advantage to come back from a spot like this. So I gotta decide if they want to kill this in response or not. Because if they don't kill it in response, I can pay 6 to make it a 4/4 later. Hey, Dorian, thanks for the 26 months. Welcome back. Wow, that's super rude. They milled our Kefnet. Good play. Thanks, Jeb. We're dead to the deal 5 in hand. I'm happy with how I boarded. Just run a little bit less bad. Well, technically, Lance, Bone Crusher Giant and Sedgemoor Witch are different. But no, in general, there isn't a keyword that describes that type of retaliation type effect. Okey-doke. No bottom of Thoughtseize here. Just guy turns the docket after this. I don't know offhand. Stars, thanks for the follow. Surprised they didn't memory lapse the Thoughtseize. I'd be pretty surprised if the Just Kind Mutate deck's not still playable. Got a decent proactive game plan. I think against their deck full of burn, I want to go up with her. Cadaverous Dancer. Thank you for the 3rd of the year. Welcome back. I think ticking, as nice as another Thoughtseize would be, ticking down and then getting her Prismari Commander Lightning Helix sounds really not great.
I know I noted this somewhere.
Nice, nice. Her plus is also good with Kefnet. They kill Kefnet, he tucks it, and then you plus her name Kefnet. That's another reason we're playing her. The double hit makes up for the fact that we missed last turn. Plus her twice and got 2 cards, chat. That is why we didn't down tick her. They cast Wrath of God here. We'll get to hit with her +1 again next turn.
And find.
I'm gonna play Sedgemoor out to encourage. I'm gonna play Sedgemoor out to encourage them to Wrath of God me next turn. This deals damage, lets them sack a thing to draw cards, makes a token. So I assume they're like helixing plus making a token here, but they also might not because I committed to the board. They might want to Wrath of God this turn. Yeah. I elected not to attack because I didn't want them to be able to like kill this, make a token, attack Tamiyo. Nah, I'm only playing 2 copies of Tamiyo, Mitchell. We should be able to find a way to win before we deck out. I assume they're casting Wrath of God here. They would have cast the Lorehold command that they shocked for otherwise. And then next turn we'll plus Tamiyo, name Kefnet, play Witch and Kefnet again. They'll be right back where we started. Am I playing at the 5K? I'm gonna play Dead Guy Ale.
Let me aid your research.
Well, I don't have a land to do both, do I? That's awkward. That's fine. Let's get this down. I'm brainstorming inside of their draw step in case my first draw is a Thoughtseize. I could have done it on my turn to hit the land drop. I think this is better. I haven't seen any time warps yet, have I? Oh, there's one. We've seen one. So there's 3 time warps in 30 cards here.
Setting a bad example. You could use some manners.
Any time warp here?
I think you will find my notes helpful.
Is this a sweeper? We played one really bad Mind's Desire deck at one point. At some point, we'll get to Mind's Desire plus Paradoxical Outcome. It's just a hop to the left. And a skip to the right. Put your hands on your hips. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Be-do-do-do. Let's do the time warp again. Yeah, the fact that, like, Time Warp enables wacky things, but it isn't self-enabling is nice. Because, like, it's not Nexus of Fate where it, like, does everything itself. You have to build around Time Warp to make it extra good. You got her. Are Harry's still my razor of choice? They are.
My research has been compromised.
They make a good product. Did you? It's sad that they're dead, checks. I can take more turns. Hey, Ruin, thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back. Right on the scoreboard. Oh, you know what? We've been playing for almost 3 hours. I'm gonna restart the client here really quick. Thanks everybody for bringing out this morning, by the way. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I stream full-time here on Twitch. We do Magic the Gathering 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. We play almost all constructed here, occasionally cube when that's around, but otherwise all constructed. We play a ton of historic these days. The Mystical Archives have made this format quite wonderful. Usually play 3 or 4 different decks a day. We change decks every 90 minutes to 2 hours or so, assuming things are reasonable. Check out my YouTube channel as well. Everything I stream gets archived there and cut up deck by deck. So there's a great wealth of deck lists that are a little bit off meta and interesting posted there every single day of the week. Man, chat, everybody's a Gandalf. Mono Gandalfs all the time. Would Storm? I don't think I have Storm in the queue waiting to be played. Good nuts. Do we have a Storm deck? No, there's no Storm deck waiting to be played at the moment. You could add a Storm deck to the queue to be played later on stream, but it would be a couple of days. If I made 5k bits, adds a new deck to the queue. I'm about 3 or 4 days out for deck submissions though. So any deck added today for 5k bits would probably be played on Tuesday or maybe Wednesday next week. I really wish this card was a 2-3 instead of a 3-2. It'd be so much better. Probably be playable in Standard. It was 2-3, so it didn't die to Bone Crusher Giant. Yeah, I imagine getting into, like, not this next week, but the week after too, the queue will probably be handled down. For a while, people could add decks and they get played the same day. Because the deck queue just wasn't busy, but the set release made the queue go insane. I think I'm gonna do this and name non-land. Okay, yeah, and then we'll do this, and then we can go Sedgemoor into Harvest next turn.
Hurry.
It's super awkward that I have 5 lands, but I don't have another blue yet. I think I'm supposed to name lands here and dig for awkward.
Me to phase you out of time? Hold that thought.
Hopefully this finds a Fabled Passage, so we can throw this back and shuffle it away. Now, I'm pretty ready for Eldraine to rotate on a Standard too. I'm pretty over Yorion as a companion. Honestly, Luris as well. Those cards should be relegated to these non-rotating formats. I'm thinking 1 Seer. Man, our mana's super awkward. At least their hand's doing a whole lot of nothing here, too.
I'll have a better plan next time.
I have another Teferi, because I kept just, like, doing a whole lot of nothing. We're Brainstorm locked now. If their hand is good, we're just dead. They just looked at their graveyard, so feels like they might have a Gear Hulk. I don't have anything too scary in here, though. Yeah, I really hope they revisit Mutate at some point. The mechanic at its core was good. The fact that it only ever got to exist in Standard with Brazen Bar was a travesty, though. Do we need the Triumph, or could we have cycled it and played the Overgrown Tomb? Well, I have a bunch of double blue cards in my deck, Plaid. So at some point, I'm going to need a second blue mana. Okay, let's see if they realize they have to chump block the Dragonsguard Elite, or if they die by mistake. Hey, did you find Wrath of God? Gas, think twice. Spin your tires. Have you done the mana math for this deck? It feels like we're missing blue a lot. I'm gonna give you a timeout so you can take the time to do the mana math. Because yes, I did the math for my deck. I get that you, a member of Twitch chat, have now watched a total of like 6 games of Magic, so you think I need to fix something or change something, but I would encourage you to not be results-based. not even 6 games, right? Like we played, this is our 4th game. It's our 2nd match, game 1. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, we've got 14 blue sources, an abundant growth, and other cantrips and stuff. We also don't need double blue till turn 4, so like that affects it too. One of the things you have to consider when you're thinking about mana math is the fact that your deck has cantrips in it or not. Things like abundant growth and brainstorm change the calculus on what you need to hit your thresholds on time. I assume we're getting pretty close to garbage time here at this point. But it's like a magma opus away from putting us in the ground. Wait, they need a sweeper. Feels magic, man. Two spells and a Fabled Passage, please. This card is so bad. It's so bad. I haven't used Fabled Passage yet this game. One of them. Maybe they don't have another counterspell, he said optimistically, knowing a Gear Hulk was looming. Tail's End. Yep. We played the opponent's archetype a bunch in previous seasons. It's good against decks like ours. It struggles against decks that play proactively to the board a good deal. Its Gruul matchup is pretty close to unwinnable. They just run you over. Brainstorm showing that game why it's a trash card in a lot of situations. Quandrix Command gets rid of stuff out of their bin. Also counters Gear Hulk, which is nice. Negate comes in. Soul Guide Lantern sounds fine against their Gear Hulk deck. Pulse and Bloodchief's Thirst seem like not where I want to be in life. It can shuffle our Brainstorm. Yep. You're not wrong. So I think I'm going to trim a Time Warp, but I don't know if 4 of this card is right. It might be right to just play fewer of those at the top end. We don't really want to draw it super early. Okay, Dr. James, here's how you need to think of that card. You're comparing Brainstorm to doing nothing. What you should be comparing Brainstorm to is a different cantrip. So think about if instead of Brainstorm, if that Brainstorm had been an Opt. What does Opt do in that situation we were just in? In Opt, I don't lock myself into 2 shit draws on top of my deck for the next 2 turns. Yeah, 100% Ice Tiger. In for that. I've heard that logic, and you're like pretty far from the first person to give me that logic, and it's so weird to me. People are like, well, Brainstorm's better than nothing there. It's like, yeah, well, Brainstorm could be any other spell, right? Like Brainstorm wasn't just like this free thing that just like appeared and happened. Like I had to pay a mana and it took up a card. Around another copy of Jawari Disruption. Hey, thanks for the 2 years, Rissa. Welcome back. We haven't seen a Magma Opus out of them yet. I feel like they must be playing it, right? Like that's a card you can ramp into nicely. I'm going to play an untapped land here, because if this cycles into a Time Warp, I want to be able to cast it. I think we just hang tight, right? Because if I draw a Thoughtseize. Hey, I think they're like pretty forced to cast this to unsummon here. Yeah. Yeah, 6 mana into the Royal. Exactly right. And from Plat to Mythic in like 2 days? Yeah, it doesn't take very long if you play good decks. We climbed all of Diamond yesterday. Alright, there's the Magma Opus. Oracle Maldai is a pretty peak Twitch chat suggestion. Why are they Blood Sunning instead of Magma Opusing? They have enough, right? 1, 2, 3. Are they dead? I think they're dead, right? I'm not gonna upkeep Brainstorm, I'm gonna end-step Brainstorm. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do, chat. It's the whole point of the deck. Alright, so they're dead. Get to go to game 3 now. Because even if they can counter this first one, I get to cast another Time Warp. It depends on what you want to be good against. Honestly, I could see... I feel like if I wanted Cling to Dust in this deck, Todd, I would play Cling in the main deck as another cantrip. Which, all things considered, playing Clings in the main is probably not unreasonable. We'll pull up the deck list after this, maybe fit a couple of Clings in the main. We played a couple of Clings in the Grixis main deck today, and it was really good. Cling's a cheap cantrip for your Magecraft creatures. It can trigger Kefnet on their turn. It flashes back. It technically has synergy with Tamiyo filling our graveyard. Hey, Grandpa Mello. Thanks for the third of a year. Yeah, a couple of Cling sounds great. That one slipped my mind. I think I want to go down to 3 Time Warps. 4 has not felt necessary. Our deck's pretty good at churning through cards. I mean, the opponent just kept a land heavy hand. They chose the life they lead. They're a Deafening Clarion deck, so I'm gonna go ahead and try and get this out of range before I deploy Sedgemoor Witch. Getting this to a 4/4 is big against their deck. It gets it out of Helix range too. They can eventually tag it with Shatter Skull Smashing, but not for a while. I'm gonna fetch now so they can't top deck Tails End and Savage me. Think they play Wrath of God? Famous last words.
I'm known for my next. You need to take a time out.
She's very menacing, Jet.
I suppose that's how it was meant.
Maybe demolish her. Are they dead? They're pretty close to dead, right? Says bounce this, put 2 counters here. That's 5, 6, 7. I think that's the play, right? to the 38 months. DMS, welcome back. Yeah, commands are sweet. Yeah, getting her out of Sweltering Sun / Anger / Helix range is huge. Also putting them down to a spot where they can no longer pay for mage crit, or the ward is good. I like the idea of a couple of clings. I think I want to trim a Time Warp. Not 20 Thorlians. Guess we have abundant growth of Brainstorm. 24 is probably plenty. Hey, good game, Serzy. How many Magma Opus are you playing? I felt like you didn't see many copies of it. I feel like I want more Magma Opus and what you got going on. You trim the Maelstrom Pulse. And I feel like if I'm putting Clings in the main deck, I probably don't need the third Soul Guide Lantern in the sideboard, so maybe we can trim that for something else. So, but here again, like, you're ignoring the details, never not DM. Like, you're not using your brain. So, like, you're saying, based on Frank Karsten's math, I need 2 more blue sources. Yeah, but Frank Karsten's math doesn't account for Abundant Harvest. It doesn't account for Brainstorm seeing more cards. It doesn't account for Cling to Dust cantripping. It doesn't account for Tamiyo minusing and picking lands back up out of your bin. It doesn't account for the fact that I don't need to play God-Eternal Kefnet right on turn 4. So again, like, you look at this deck, and let me respond to your question with the question. What do you think is more important? Do you think having blue for Kefnet on 4 is more important? Or do you think having black mana to cast Thoughtseize and Inquisition on turn 1 is more important? That's like the TLDR, what it boils down to. Which of those two things happening do you think needs to happen more consistently? And I would say this needs to happen more consistently. If I miss this on 4, it's like not a big deal. Not being able to play this on 1 is often gonna be the difference between winning and losing against control decks and combo decks. Speaking of, I need one more slot in the board. I think I want a Duress in the board as an extra card here. What is Oracle? Oracle reminder. What does that mean? How much green do I have? Could I trade a green for a blue? 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 16 green. There isn't an easy green I can turn to a blue, right? Oh, Oracle. No, Oracle of Moldiah doesn't fix any problems that we have, chat. Stop it. Suggesting Oracle of Moldiah for this deck is a great example of, like, changing your deck based on the matchups that we played. Like, Oracle of Moldiah is like, yeah, that card sounds good because we just got done playing against 2 Gandalf players. But, like, you're gonna queue into someone that, like, is gonna try and kill you and that you're gonna die with that 4-mana 2/2 in your hand. So far our deck feels good against Gandalf. Is it good in general? I don't know. Our hand's pretty okay, speaking of, but I'm just gonna, like, hold this Brainstorm for now. This is another thing, like, talking about fundamentals of brainstorming. This is an opt. You shouldn't just cast it at the first opportunity. You should cast Brainstorm when your hand is bad and you're looking to fix the quality of your hand. My hand at this current on turns 1 and 2 is fine. I'm not looking for lands. I'm not looking for a proactive play. I should wait to play this until I'm looking for a problem that I have to solve. I get more value out of this card when I'm looking to sculpt my hand as opposed to just looking to churn cards. Hey, thanks Therapy. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and do at least one short form direct to YouTube content like that per week moving forward. Brainborn Cutthroat off of blue-green lands. Maybe a smaller flash build? Yeah, and in this instance too, waiting to Brainstorm means my Sedgemoor Witch gets more value, which is great. And now, like, here, I don't really have anything I want to play this turn. I don't really need this Cling to Dust. Well, I definitely don't need those lands. We'll throw these back. And we'll name non-land because Abundant Harvest clears Brainstorm very elegantly, as shown. This has Menace, so I can attack into a single flash creature here without fear. I think Commence the Endgame is a card that sounds really good if you want to beat exactly decks like what this opponent's playing against, but I'm not convinced I need that effect. Okay, so they attack with this Cutthroat. I'm going to Brainstorm plus Cling to Dust, then try and quad block it. Nice. Probably don't want both Thoughtseize here, actually. So I think I'm going to throw these two back. And then next turn we'll be able to Thoughtseize into Kefnet, which is great. Yeah, the best offering life gain to offset our Thoughtseizes and shocks is great. We'll go back up to 20 here. Yeah, we might even Thoughtseize into Maelstrom Pulse here, depending on what their hand looks like. Just clean these sailors out. Ooh. I think this has got to be the line still. As appealing as is to jam, there's a good chance they have a counter spell. So like if I jam this and then try and Thoughtseize this gets countered, then I only get one token anyways. Harsh but fair. Around a sensor here. Hopefully they just draw a card here. Ashiok's Erasure, sure. And then I think we're far enough ahead at this point that if they want to trade two sailors for the Witch, I'm okay with that. I don't know what Abundant Growth does. Growth Sprout, what's Abundant Growth? Someone refresh my memory. Would I rather this resolve or this resolve? I think I'd rather Kefnet resolve. I'm gonna lead on this. Getting either into play is good. Yeah, Growth Spiral and Abundant Harvest do completely different things. Agree with that assessment. I don't think they're really comparable. Also, like, my deck curves out at 5. Yeah, which has been really good. We've got a Mardu Arcanist deck in the queue. That's a young Pyromancer Sedgemoor Witch deck. I'm looking forward to at some point too. You know, honestly, I think I just like tap, play, and pass here now, right? I can spend my mana clinging with the Witch here this turn. There's no reason to jam into their open mana. What's the white for? Silver Quill something or other. There's a deck list in the queue, if you look. You may pay 3 life to bounce my Sedgemoor Witch. The Warren animation is sweet. I'm gonna take Rewind out of here in case they're a Gearhulk deck. I want to leave in here for Tamiyo. Probably Thoughtseize. I'm gonna leave Abundant Harvest, actually. Because if Tamiyo resolves, I don't need Thoughtseize anymore. Oh yeah, I had Light Scribe in the deck too, is the other one. Yeah, that's right. I assume they're countering this. That's why they bounced it. Alright, so they're dead. They're dead to Time Warp, right? They have like a Mystic Dispute here. Or another Sailor. Block. Yeah, that deck's in the deck queue in Megas. Like I have that deck built in the queue. So I know Time Warp just won that game. That being said, it's probably a card that comes out here, right? I think we want to drag our curve down here a little bit. They're almost assuredly a Night Pack Ambusher deck, right? Should I board in these Noxious Grasp, assuming they're a Night Pack Ambusher deck? Scorn seems good in this. Why is Scorn good? Because when I kill their cheap threats, just like all Doomblades on deck. I guess the cantrip on Kling. We didn't see, if we see Gearhulk, I might bring Kling back in. Scorn seems fine. Yeah, taking their what's it called off the table, their 2-drop off the tables probably slows them down quite a bit. How was Pop Mom earlier? Awful. That deck is not playable. Played it for like 30 minutes and got stomped 3 different ways and moved on with our lives. How do you make the assessment that Time Warp is not good in the matchup when you won with it? Well, I asked myself what the average case scenario looks like. Their deck has a lot of cheap threats and has a lot of counter spells in it. And honestly, there's a chance there's more counter spells post-board. Oh, our spells are good, but our mana is super awkward. Can we draw a Watery Grave on one? Jeskai got the most new tools from this latest expansion, so Jeskai and Blue-White are super. Honestly, Jeskai and Blue-White are decks that people always play regardless of how good they are. Or super popular despite the fact that they're generally not good. This is the part where they hit running lands in a row in Dumpstros. Alright, sweet. Okay, so Scorn looks really bad. God-Eternal Kefnet 2 is a little on the expensive side. Yeah, I was actually watching your stream for a little bit last night, James. It looked really good. When I ended up going to bed, you peaked at you hit like 73 in Mythic or something like that. You were really high up there. All right, with this draw, I want to redraw Tyrant Scorn. I think Kefnet's much worse than all the other cards in my hands here. Yeah, that's the truth right there. The feel smart decks always get played because you can no true Scotsman it by telling people I win with it because I'm good. It's not that the deck's bad, it's that people are bad with the deck. Come on, flash in your wolf and lose the game. God bless. But if your deck is bad and you're also bad, then I hope you're having fun. OG Slappy, thanks for the 31 months. Welcome back. Who plays Magic to have fun? Filthy casuals. Triggers. I feel attacked, as you should. It's unfortunate. Excuse me? Yeah, deal. Thanks, Kraken. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Because it has Menace, Cody. She's very scary. She's a scary witch. Come on now. Menace is busted, chat. This deck was pretty sweet. I feel like I accomplished I feel like I accomplished our build around goal. We had a sweet deck. Kefnet was great. Time warps were reasonable. I think not playing 4 is correct. Like, you don't want to see this card until you're well established on board. Sedgemoor Witch was super impressive. One of the things that a lot of these Thoughtseize decks in this format feel like they have struggled with, to me, is being able to offset the damage that you're doing to yourself from Thoughtseizes and fetch lands, and the pests providing incidental life gain was really nice at doing that. Brainstorm was kind of whatever, but I think it's also playable. Like, we have Harvest and Passage and Tamiyo to clear Brainstorm, so I think that's good enough. I think there's probably merit in testing this archetype without the Kefnets and the Time Warps. This was a build around for directly those. There's probably a decent Magecraft shell without it. Honestly, there might even be a straight green-black variation of this that just, like, doesn't play the blue cards and has better, more consistent mana that's not painful too. Could be something worth exploring. Tamiyo honestly was probably the best blue card in the deck in the set, though. She picked a couple of games up against the Gandalf decks and carried them on her back. So yeah, you could play Jund, you could play Pyro and Arcanist. Maybe play a couple of Faithful Lootings, sure. Yeah, someone in the Discord was talking about a Jund Witch deck. Seemed reasonable. All right, what are we doing next?